ID card mu nekk $450 man mosuma si ànd te du mosuma sa ànd.
yow xaalis boobu nu mu fa ñëwee loolu nga war a njëkk a laajte because social security institution doo xam ne social security warut a ñàkk a xaalis yëfi profit social security loolu waxtaani banda la loolu dafa war a automatique.
Barrow lu ma ko ñaan mooy na wàcce 3 years am su demee 5 years dafa am problème leadership bu fi bàyyi dafa bon right now amul direction bu correct réew mi ñëpp seen am na disappointment si nguuri Barrow.
benn nit mënut a jagal réew da ngaa def li nga war a def bàyyi keneen ñu continuer
The sacking of nominated National Assembly member Yakumba Jaite has received a wide range of condemnations from Gambians both at home and abroad. The maiden edition of the European Union and League of Arab States latest summit wraps up today with a greater commitment to stronger regional operation, key to finding solutions to common challenges. There may not be a runoff in Senegal presidential elections as incumbent Macky Sall is reportedly polling 57% of the votes counted. These are the headlines, more coming on your way on the wall today. p.m. in Washington State, 2100 GMT here in the Gambia. You're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. We now kick off with our first story. The sacking of nominated National Assembly member Yakumba Jaite has received a wide range of condemnations from Gambians both at home and abroad. Reports over the weekend emerged of the sacking of Ms. Jaite as a number of National Assembly members. It was confirmed today through Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service in a letter to Ms. Jaite that her nomination has been revoked. The development means she has automatically lost her seat at the House. The latest to condemn the sacking is Pata Sedikan alias Pata PJ, a well-known commentator who told iAfrica TV that he was shocked and disbelieved that the president has removed a lawmaker, which is a slap to democracy. Here is an insert.
I was in absolute shock. I was in disbelief when I heard that the president had removed a lawmaker. I do not care if that person is nominated or not. My understanding was, I am not a lawyer, so I'm not going to be arguing on the legal part of things. But my understanding was the president had the power to nominate. But once that person has been confirmed by the National Assembly and they become a member of the Assembly, now they are sitting members, and then there are procedures as to how a sitting member should be removed. But the most important thing is, even whereas the law gives the president the power to be able to do that, it's unbelievable that the president who was elected on the principles of democracy, as he says it, will want to be frustrated of whatever reason want to reach. In this case, what I would call an overreach to the co-equal arm of the government, which is the legislature, to be able to intimidate them or even show them that I have the powers to do this. If you do not agree with me, you're going to be gone. We have 5 members of the National Assembly that were nominated. So basically, and including the speaker. So basically, if the president is dissatisfied with any of those, he can remove them. That would be sad. So if I were Yakumba or anybody else, matter of fact, all the National Assembly the National Assembly members, I think what they should do is to look into this issue and see if there is a need in the first place for them to pursue this issue in court, because my understanding is that the Constitution is kind of silent on this. Now, for sitting members, we understand what the removal is, how the removal process goes. But for somebody who is nominated, only because the president nominated, I understood that's where his nomination ends once it's been confirmed by the National Assembly. He shouldn't have the power to be able to go in there and get somebody out. Now, it will be like if the president has the same powers, he can. What is going to stop him from going to the judiciary and do the same thing? He can go in there and take people that he think are not supporting him and get him out. So these are some of the things that we've been trying to change. I think Even if I were Yakuma or anybody else, or even the private citizens, should be able to take this issue to the court. Let them go to the take the issue to court, so Supreme Court can decide what the issue is, and they become a president, so we can know it shouldn't happen again. But one another important thing is people have to understand that this is no longer a partisan issue, right? We need to start paying attention to a lot of these things. They cannot continue to happen. If Gambians fold hands and watch the president do whatever he wanted to do only because he has the powers, we're going to go back to what President Jammeh was doing, because he was doing the same thing, basically using the legislature or his powers to be able to do this. That is going to defeat the whole essence of our change. So it's sad. It is very unfortunate that President Barrow will resort to this. I don't know what the reasons are, and I don't care what the reasons are. It defies logic that the president who came to power less than 3 years ago, who understood why we effect change, will go ahead and want to do something that is going to derail us and take us back to where we are. So I am not even going to show solidarity with Yakumba, because this is not an individual issue. It's a constitutional issue. It's an issue that we think as a democracy we need to be concerned with, and I hope everybody in that country is cognizant of what this could cause. So the president or nobody else should have the power to be able to do this. So I am pretty disappointed, and I think the president should be able to should reconsider this position. It makes no sense. It is not. It doesn't make any sense at all, and it is a dangerous precedent.
Meanwhile, in the latest development on the sacking of Honorable Yakumba Jaite, 31 members of the National Assembly today reported rejecting President Adama Barrow's decision to sack a nominated national member Yakumba Jaite. Members of the National Assembly have held an emergency caucus on the issue, and they are hereby disassociating themselves from the letter purporting to dismiss nominated member Yakumba Jaite, the lawmakers said. According to them, the president has no powers or authority to dismiss any member of the National Assembly, and that it is unconstitutional, nor is it in the spirit of the Constitution to revoke the nomination of any member of the National Assembly. The National Assembly is therefore not recognizing or accepting the purported revocation of the nomination of Honorable Yakumba Jaite and considers it null and void, they added. In the latest counterclaim, some members of the National Assembly whose signature appeared on the caucus meeting denied supporting the UDP-led decision. They said they only attended the meeting but never supported the position of the so-called 31 National Assembly members to reject the decision of President Barrow. The minority leader, Honorable Samba Jallo, put the record straight, saying that caucus is an informal forum of the Assembly and therefore cannot construe a decision of the plenary, and the signature on the attendance list cannot surface as support or agreement to the said resolution made in the caucus. There may not be a runoff in Senegal presidential elections, as incumbent Macky Sall is reportedly pulling 57% of the votes counted. Nearest challenger Idrissa Seck, a one-time former prime minister under the government of Abdoulaye Wade, pulled 21%. Ousmane Sonko came third with 14% of the votes. If confirmed, President Macky Sall will this term serve in office for only 5 years. This was due to the referendum he called in 2014 by decreasing the term of the president from 7 to 5 years. Senegal's President Macky Sall has won Sunday's presidential election with 57% of the votes, his prime minister claimed. Though the Election Commission has not announced the official results yet, Mohamed Abdallah John said his figures are based on his party's tallies from voting centers across the country. He made the announcement at a press briefing at the ruling party headquarters in capital Dakar last night. I have been reliably informed that President Macky Sall won the elections hands down and there will be no second round. I want our supporters to stay peaceful and calm until the Election Commission declares the winner, John told RFM. Meanwhile, Sall's main challenger, former Prime Minister Idrissa Seck, also informed his supporters a few minutes later that a presidential runoff is inevitable. He was speaking at a press briefing he jointly organized late last night in Dakar with Ousmane Sonko, another opposition candidate. Seck, who is vying for presidency for the third time, was surrounded by supporters chanting second round a must. He accused unnamed foreign media outlets of announcing fake results to favor Sall. Ousmane Sonko, another opposition candidate, also criticized some media outlets for engaging in an activity that threatens Senegal's peace and security. He called for the respect of Senegal's electoral law, which says only the Electoral Commission can declare results. Our candidate must secure more than 50% of the votes to be declared the winner in the first round. A runoff between the two leading candidates will be held on March 24th if there is no outright winner in the first round. For Our Africa TV News, I am Fatoumata Jaju. The 40th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council kicks off today in Geneva with a high level of participation. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and High Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet addressed the meeting. President of the UN's Human Rights Council, Kolisek, expresses hope that the Council will address all important human rights issues in the world. Here is an insert.
Tackle all the important human rights issues in the world, thematic issues and country-specific issues. And we have to discuss issues like terrorism, issues like child traffic, issues like social and economical rights. And we are ready to tackle all of these issues, having in mind that human rights are indivisible: political, civil, and economic and social rights. So we will have a lot of important issues on the agenda. We'll be listening to the Secretary General of the United Nations, the President of the General Assembly, the President of the African Union Commission, because we think that it's important to strengthen relations between the Human Rights Council and regional organizations in order to facilitate better promotion and protection of human rights around the globe. For now, we don't know if we'll have a special session on these questions, because a special session depends on members. They have to introduce the demand. But what is sure is that we will not forget any important human rights issues in the world. The Council is ready to tackle all human rights issues around the globe. For now, I cannot see in the agenda any debate or any points concerning this issue, and this again depends on members. If they want to tackle any issue, they can do it, but for now I cannot see it in the agenda.
The first edition of the European Union and League of Arab States Leaders Summit ended today in Egypt with a greater commitment to stronger regional cooperation, key to finding solutions to the current common challenges which both the EU countries and the Arab states are confronted with. In their final summit declaration, leaders of two blocs renewed their commitment to effective multilateralism and to an international system based on international law to tackle global challenges. Asaju Sambo has more on that.
The edition of European Union and the League of Arab State Leaders Summit ended today in Egypt. The two-day summit held from the 24th to the 25th February 2019 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, under the co-chairmanship of His Excellency Al-Aziz, President of Egypt, and His Excellency Donald Tusk, President of the European Council, addressed common and current challenges across the two regions comprising 12% of the world's population. In the Sharm el-Sheikh Summit declaration issued at the end of the meeting reveals a new era of cooperation and coordination. The summit reaffirms that stronger regional cooperation is key to finding the solutions to the current common challenges which both the EU countries and the Arab states are confronted with. They renewed their commitment to effective multilateralism and to the international system based on international law in order to tackle global challenges, including through increased cooperation between the last EU, the United Nations, and the African Union. They agreed to further strengthen cooperation towards security, conflict resolution, and socio-economic development throughout the region. They reiterated that reaching political solutions to the regional crisis in accordance with international law, including international humanitarian law, is a key to achieving the peace and prosperity that the people of the region need and deserve. They reaffirmed their common position on the Middle East peace process, including on the status of Jerusalem and on the illegality under international law of Israel's settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. They had constructive, serious, and thorough discussion on recent development in Syria, Libya, and Yemen, on ways to make progress towards reconciliation and sustainable and peace political solutions in line with relevant UN resolutions. On Syria, They believe that any sustainable solution requires a genuine political transition in line with the 2012 Geneva Communique and the relevant UN Security Council resolutions, in particular Resolution 2254. On Libya, leaders expressed their support for UN efforts and the implementation of Libyan political agreement of 2015. We call on all Libyans to engage in good faith in UN-led efforts aimed at bringing Libya's democratic transition to a successful end and to refrain from any action that might escalate tensions, further jeopardize security, and undermine the stabilization process. On Yemen, the summit welcomed the Stockholm Agreement, in particular the ceasefire on Hodeidah and the adaptation of the UN Security Council Resolution 2216, 2451, and 2452. They recall their concern for the dire humanitarian situation where millions are gravely affected. Leaders of the two blocs exchanged concerns on threats to international and regional peace and security, including terrorism, radicalization, destabilization actions, professionalization, illegal arms trafficking, and organized crime. Leaders finally agreed to hold large EU summits regularly, alternating between Arab and European states, the next one taking place in Brussels in 2022. For Africa TV News, I am Sajo Sambu.
Well, viewers, coming up after the break, many have died in election-related violence in Nigeria as the country awaits the results of last weekend's voting. Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. Venezuelan Foreign Minister George Arezia said his government could only hope sanity will prevail in Colombia and that they don't try to open doors to a military intervention in Venezuela. He called on the press not to side with violence because if they do, they will, just like the hands of Trump, be stained with blood.
Por eso,
Venezuelan Foreign Minister George Arezia said his government could only hope sanity will prevail in Colombia, that the deadline for the entry of humanitarian aid would remain a big show and they don't try to open the doors to a military intervention in Venezuela. Therefore, the support of the United Nations and its agencies to ensure that we can procure items in due course and pay for them with money that Venezuelan men and women have earned with our own money. In addition to that, there are special programs in place by agencies such as UNICEF and FAO for food where they also wanted to donate. This will all be welcomed. What do they want? What do they want with this operation? They want something to happen within the armed forces. As said by an old Venezuelan, these are just the latest developments of a prehistoric animal in the process of extinction. And in Venezuela, this coup is also in the process of extinction. But in the world, imperialism is also in the process of extinction. We have called on the media not to side with them. We will reiterate this to international agencies such as Reuters. All of you are important. Please don't side with violence. Don't side with creating justifying conditions for violence in Venezuela, because you will, just like the hands of President Trump, be stained with blood. Our national Bolivarian armed forces protect our national sovereignty and will never take action in disproportionate manner against our people and citizens. But there are people, and that is why I was telling you we have false flags. We do have situations of that kind, and we can only hope sanity will prevail in Colombia, that sanity and good sense would prevail in Cocota, and that this party will remain a party, a big show, and they don't try to open the doors to a military intervention. Do you really think President Trump is worried about Venezuela? Do you think he is really losing any sleep over Venezuela and the Venezuelan needs? I am sure that you know he is not, especially when it comes to Mr. Trump. Perhaps some other president of the United States may have that human sentiment or may be concerned about reconstruction. For iAfrica TV News, I am Fatmata Jai.
Many have died in the election-related violence in Nigeria as the country awaits the results of last weekend's voting in what is forecasted to be its tightest poll since the end of military rule in 1999. Current President Muhammadu Buhari, 76, a former military ruler, is seeking a second term on an anti-corruption platform. He faces off against businessman Atiku Abubakar, 72, a former vice president who has promised to expand the role of the private sector. Al-Hassan Sise gives us more on that.
Reported in Nigeria's polls, Nigeria's electoral body on Sunday said one of its officials has died of stray bullets in the oil-rich River State. A day after at least 6 others, including a soldier, were killed in electoral violence in the same state. Amakiri Iwisaki, a temporary staff, was hit by a bullet during election on Saturday. According to the head of the country's Electoral Commission, Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, we condemn this attack and will forward a comprehensive report for security agencies to investigate, Yakubu told a news briefing in capital Abuja. Police have also confirmed 3 dead in more election violence in northern Kogi State. William Aya, police spokesperson in Kogi, said one of the casualties, a policeman, died on Friday while the 2 others died during the presidential and parliamentary ballots. On Sunday, secret police arrested Buba Galadima, a spokesperson for the opposition presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, after he reportedly released a video claiming the latter has won the keenly contested race. Such announcement contravenes the country's electoral laws, which empower only the electoral body to declare the result. The first leg of Nigeria's elections began on Saturday amid reports of ballot snatching, vote buying, and violence in a few states, although the exercise was peaceful and orderly in most parts, according to observers. Elections have been shifted in some local governments in at least 3 of Nigeria's 36 states due to violence and disruption of voting. Official results for the presidential ballot are not expected until Tuesday. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Al-Hassan Sise.
United Nations spokesperson has revealed that nearly 7 million people in South Sudan face acute food insecurity this year. Speaking to reporters in New York, Stefan Dujarric said that the number of acutely food insecure people has increased by 13% in 1 year. Here is an insert.
According to South Sudan, nearly 7 million people in that country could face acute food insecurity at the height of this year's May to July lean season, according to a report released today by the South Sudanese government and our colleagues at the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, the UN Children's Fund, and the World Food Programme. The Integrated Food Security Phase Classification Report shows that the number of acutely food insecure people has already increased by 13% since January of last year. Food insecurity continues to be driven by the effects of conflict, insufficient food production, and associated population displacement. The agency said there's an urgent need for more funds to scale up humanitarian assistance to save the lives and protect livelihoods.
The maiden edition of the Banjul International Marathon was held on Sunday in the country's capital city. The competition attracted athletes from Senegal, Togo, Kenya, UK, USA, and the Gambia, who competed in the 42, 21, 10, and 5 kilometers respectively for both male and female category. Lamin AFFS Dabo has more.
The first edition of the Banjul International Marathon kicks off in the weekend in the country's capital city. Being the first of its kind ever organized in the history of the capital, athletes come from Senegal, Togo, Kenya, UK, USA, and the Gambia as hosts, who competed in 42 kilometers, 21, 10, and 5 kilometers respectively for both male and female category. In delivering her speech, the Lord Mayoress of Banjul City Council, Madam Rohim Malik Lo, expressed her happiness for the hosting of the said event in the city of Banjul under her stewardship. She informed the gathering that such events have great health benefits and also serve as means of raising funds to attain target objectives.
Sponsor walks have great health benefits as well as a means of raising funds. Walking can help to give your heart the workout it needs to stay in good condition. Being active helps reduce your risk of developing a heart attack, as well as having a stroke, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and other related diseases.
She further went on assuring the organizers that Banjul City Council aims to provide better health care and sustainable system as its key responsibility. She highlighted that the BCC will work on a clear and robust policy at the municipality level centered on devising ways of continuous upgrading of sport facilities in the city, including their maintenance.
Council will also work on a clear and robust sports policy at the municipal level. It will center on devising ways of continuously upgrading sports facilities in the city and their maintenance. Council will revisit all sports issues within the city with the aim of playing an active role in organizing and sponsoring competitions.
She also emphasized that the City Council will revisit all sport issues in the city with the aim of playing active roles in organizing and sponsoring competitions. Mayoress Law thanked the organizers of the event and assured them that the City Council doors are always open for any future collaboration. Reporting for iAfrica TV, Lamin AFF Dabo.
Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the World Today Evening Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, log on to our website, iAfrica TV. I am Fatmata Jaju. Bye for now.
It's revolution time. Even if you're blind, you can see the signs. Don't be left behind. This one dedicated to all the Gambian people, victims of Yaya Jammeh. You can fool some people sometimes, but not everybody all the time. Hey! Nothing new under Gambia sky. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Yaya rob and steal and tell a liar. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Because of his politics, now people die. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Nothing new, nothing new, nothing new under Gambia sky. What's the purpose of your life if you don't have no right? You can't win the battle if you're not ready to fight. Tell me the meaning of your life if you don't know your right. It's like living in the darkness and don't expect light. Give me the power of the warrior. We have to live it up. It's like the beginning of a new era. We better hurry up and me say, hey. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Yeah, rob and steal and tell a liar. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Because of his politics, now people die. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Nothing new, nothing new, nothing new under Gambia sky. Tell me who's afraid of the change? How long are you gonna live on the minimum wage? Who's afraid free cross the age? For once in all your life, go get your privilege. Cause life is how you make it, either you change it or accept it. Take the right decision and don't you ever regret it. Life is how you make it, either you change it or accept it. If you want freedom, no one but yourself can go get it. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Nothing new under Gambia sky. Yeah, rob and steal and tell a liar. Nothing new under